Hi, this is Jessica Crystal Joy, Feminine Empowerment Educator from Houston, Texas. How are you guys enjoying my first series of interviews for women of color who are sex positive educators? Are you getting information that you haven't heard before? Are you loving all this information we're sharing? Or are you connecting because you're a woman of color too and you maybe for the first time or just infrequently are seeing someone just like you sharing interests and things you wanted to learn and hopefully encouraging you that yes, you too aren't weird for wanting to know and learn about these things. Well, we are now getting into the third part of our interview. We are discussing with the lovely M'Kali Hashiki ethnicity, different words and ways that we can really dive deep into that, and people of color. We're also dropping down some book references. So, for those of you that love to read, she's providing some more further education to get you interested and educated. And finally, we're also discussing more about the erotic and how to look at it holistically and potentially a new way to bring it into your life. So, congrats and thank you if you're one of the people that have continued from the very first video. If you're just tuning in for the first time and you've missed the other videos, I'll put it in the description right over here so you'll be able to catch up and get all that great information. And if you're enjoying these videos, please give me a like or a thumbs up so I can rate your interest on continuing on with series with other people. And if you have had any questions for me or M'Kali Hashiki, please, please, please put it in the comment section below. We are here to support and provide knowledge, and the only way we can help you out is if you let us know by commenting. So thank you again for taking this journey, and congrats for completing the other two videos. Come on and mosey down to learn about video number 3. As you said, often in these classes that have all the juice, that have all the training, that have everything that you are looking for and that I've experienced I'm looking for, it is a predominant one ethnic culture, one ethnic skin that is teaching and participating in it. Oftentimes I'm usually the only person that is Black or the other only person of color that are in these trainings, workshops, certifications, or in these events. I've noticed, especially since the end of 2013, beginning of 2014 here in Texas, it's starting to change. I'm starting to see a couple of people who are of Asian descent, or maybe there's one or two other people who are usually women who are Black, who are showing up besides myself. But as you mentioned, it's very minimal. And so because this is something that is still, I believe, new in the sense that it's becoming bigger and bigger, that, hey, we need to talk about this. Deep questions are going to have deep answers because we're getting all going. So it's also very informative, and I know that other people are going to resonate. So I appreciate your long, thoughtful, and eye-opening answers to all these questions.
Thank you. Thank you. I think also one of the things that I feel like is really important to mention is, so you said, that often the people who are teaching these classes are one ethnicity, one skin color, but actually ethnicity, many white people have an ethnicity, but in order to get the privilege that goes along with being white, they have to sort of distance themselves from whatever their original ethnicity is. And that's something that we don't talk about in this culture when we talk about what white skin privilege is. I mean, like, there was a time in which, there's a book called when the Irish became white, and it really talks about how when the Irish from Ireland first came here, they weren't considered white, and all this different stuff happened. And then basically, in order to get the privileges that go along with being white, there was a way that they originally had to separate themselves from their ethnicity, from their culture, in order to join this larger group of whiteness. And so something that we don't often talk about, even when we're talking about sexuality or sacred sexuality, is the idea that white people actually do have an ethnicity. There are multiplicities of ethnicities within Europe and within Eastern Europe. So that when people say ethnic and they only mean people of color, they're actually using that word incorrectly.
Great, and thank you so much for clearing that up. And I also love that you're referencing books as well, because people learn in different ways. For example, I'm
Mm-hmm.
somebody that learns really, really well in the audio and visual combined, or through the experiential. So I usually learn through going to, as I mentioned, workshops, classes where I'm able to actually do and be in groups, and or
Mm-hmm.
YouTube or something visual. And other people are great at learning through reading
Mm-hmm.
primarily, or kinesthetic. So dropping those book references are great for those of us who are going to be viewing this at a later time that would want to get a book to kind of delve deeper into.
Well, then, if I'm going to mention books, I think I mentioned this slightly. This is it's an essay, not a book. But at the beginning of my erotic breathwork classes, it's once a week, every week for a month, and I really strongly encourage everyone to read The Uses of the Erotic is Power, an essay by Audre Lorde, written late 70s, early 80s. You can get it. It was published originally in Sister Outsider, but you can also, if you Google, you can also get the essay. You can buy the essay itself, and you can also listen to her read an early version of it. It's not the finished published version, but you can hear her read a version of it on YouTube, actually, if you Google The Uses of the Erotic is Power. And I just feel like that, as old as it is, it just really speaks to what our birthright is, and how the erotic has been used against us, and why it is so important to take the erotic out of this jail that it's been in, where it's only seen as a euphemism for the sexual, but to see it as something much larger, and to see it as a resource really for living your life. She has a couple of really great quotes that I love, and one of them I have on my business card, and it says, the erotic is the nursemaid or nurturer of all our deepest knowledge. And then towards the end of the essay, she talks about living on rations during, did she say, during the Korean War, World War II, I think. But she talks about how you would get the margarine, and the margarine had this, it was white, and it had this little packet of food coloring in a little plastic bubble at the top of it, and that before you use the bubble, you had to break this bubble of food coloring and mix it throughout the margarine in order to get that yellow color that we're used to. And she says that that's how she views the erotic, that normally people see it as this separate kernel that sort of is related to life, the big pat of margarine, but really to live a full life, you need to break that up, open it up, and mix it throughout your whole life. And so I'm actually doing it not nearly as eloquently as Audre Lorde herself does, but I really strongly encourage everyone to read that essay.